Hello, everyone. This is Debra Poneman, and I'd like to welcome you to our call with today's guest, Troika St. Germain, who will be sharing with us her thoughts on the topic Transformation and Ascension after 2012. Troika St. Germain is an accelerator and mystical alchemist who is able to advance people to their next level of spiritual development through her own frequency and powerful activations received from the higher realms. She was born awake, and since her childhood has been able to consciously visit these higher realms and communicate with angels and ascended masters. She has a unique relationship with the ascended master, Saint Germain, who has personally taught her about ascension, as well as other spiritual knowledge, and has asked her if she would create alchemical and high vibrational products of his design to assist humanity with transformation and ascension. Troika also shares Saint Germain's teachings through private sessions, teleclasses, ascension play shops, and transformational Stargate activation events, and shares this higher realm information with clarity, grace, and humor, along with her rare ability to bridge dimensions, make the esoteric understandable, and the higher realms attainable to all. She's also an authority on the violet flame and sacred fires, and has taught people worldwide how to use these fires, color, and sound to raise their frequency and vibration and to become their own master. And today we're going to discuss many things, among them what really happened on 12/21/12. The end of the world didn't occur, so what did? And what is the divine shift of the ages? And how can we prepare and thrive through these profound transformations with ease, grace, and comfort? And how could we ease the discomforts and expand the pleasures? And we're also going to experience a powerful transformational activation. So, Troika, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to the call. I am so excited about the next hour. Hopefully you'll even stay with us a little bit longer.
Hi, Debra. Hello, everybody. I would be just thrilled to stay as long as we can, Debra, because I love these calls and I love being able to share information and help for everybody, because we're all just one, and when one is helped, we are all helped. So it is my honor and my pleasure to do so.
Well, beautiful. Before we dive into some of these questions, could you tell us a little bit about your own personal journey? I was so intrigued where it said even as a child you were awake, and now obviously you're an adult and you're bringing this knowledge out to the world. What happened in between?
Well, first of all children are born awake, but most of them kind of go three-dimensional shortly after birth because they want to fit in and they want to play the game on Earth, and their parents tell them that their imaginary friends are just that, imaginary, when they really aren't. They are interdimensional beings. And so people shut down. The difference between me and most people is I didn't shut down. There was something kind of built into me that I knew that I should keep my mouth shut and not tell my mother about these beings that were showing up in my bedroom and playing jacks and dominoes with me and go to the other side and be with higher dimensional beings. I just kept that all secret so nobody could say, oh, it's just your imagination. But when I was about 10 and a half, I drowned in the ocean. I died. And when I came back, most people come back with all kinds of new abilities when they have a near-death experience. I already had the abilities, so I came back without them. And at first I thought that I did something bad and I was being punished. But in hindsight, I see that I had to learn to live in the world the way everybody else lives in the world. Otherwise, how could I relate and how could I help people now? So I stayed metaphysical throughout my life, even though I didn't have the full-on abilities. I started studying, we used to call it the occult back in those days, but I started studying astrology and numerology and tarot and anything else I could get my hands on when I was about 11, 12, and 13. I really got into those things and studied every religion, every philosophy that there was that I could find out about, and just went on a real path of a real journey of exploration and seeking answers and finding out anything that I could and doing all kinds of different practices and modalities. And then in the early 80s, I reawoke and then realized that these friends of mine were Saint Germain and El Morya, two well-known ascended masters. And I reestablished a relationship with Saint Germain on a more adult level instead of the childhood level, and looked back in my life and saw that all those paranormal, interesting, bizarre experiences I had where people would just show up in my living room was always him. So he has been with me my whole life and, of course, previous lifetimes. And now we're business partners.
That is a good business partner to have.
He's the best business partner. He's brilliant. He gives me all the ideas and all the formulas of what to create and guides me along. And then, even better, he lets me keep the money. I mean, what better partner could you have?
Well, maybe you'll tell us how we can find a business partner like that.
We all have that ability, maybe not with him, but with another higher dimensional being, because we're all multifaceted, multi-level beings. We live on many dimensions and in many bodies simultaneously. So there's a counterpart of yourself in other dimensions and other frequencies. And as we become more integrated to who we truly are, you will have all of those facets of yourself available to you.
Well, we look forward to that, and I know that the knowledge and tools that you have to share are going to help us to accelerate our growth so that we reach that place sooner rather than later. Now, is there anything else you want to share with us about your story before I ask you my first burning question?
Not really. I don't think my story is that important. I think everybody's story is important, and what's most important is what do we do from now and where do we go from here? And I'd rather talk about that than me.
Well, very good. And I love your story when you said you were a little girl, like playing jacks and dominoes with the Ascended Masters. It reminds me of the Chronicles of Narnia. You know, there you are, and you go through the wardrobe, and you're in this other world, only...
My life was very much like that.
Yeah, that was the image that just appeared in my mind when you were telling that. How amazing. So, my first question, and I know we all want to know the answer, what really did happen on December 21st, 2012? Because for some people, it just seemed like
just
another day.
Yeah. Well, there was so much misinformation and myths and concepts and stories and legends that were roaming around all through the whole year of 2012 and a few years prior. And, you know, we all had these unrealistic expectations and fears and uncertainty about what was going to happen. Years and years before, I was saying, it's just going to be like another day, but what's going to happen is, and we've been going through it for 25 years, is a shift of consciousness. The Mayans know the cycles. They ended the calendar at that particular time, not to signify the end of the world, but the end of an era. And our whole life is in cycles. The universe runs itself in cycles. Just like a watch, not a digital watch, but the old-fashioned ones with all the little gears and knobs and all of that. All those different size wheels are cycles. And so the universe is just like that. It's cycles within cycles within cycles. And some are very short-lived, you know. You all hear about the 7-year itch. That's an astrological cycle. I forget what planet it's now. I've forgotten more than I learned about astrology, but I think it's Uranus. Changes signs every 7 years. So when that happens, people's ideas of who they're attracted to change, hence the 7-year itch. And then we have very long cycles. We have the 2,000-year cycle, which is the precession of the equinox, which means that the solar system moves into a different astrological influence. We have just left the Piscean age, the age of Jesus, and many people worshiping the One, which is the Piscean age, and we've entered into the age of Aquarius, which is very different because the many are the One. It's a whole different shift. It's all about unity and oneness and equality. And so that's a 2,000-year cycle. The Mayan calendar was a 5,196-year cycle. That's a different era. And then there's an even bigger cycle that we have just gone through, which is a 26,000-year cycle. And that's the one that's the most important of all of what we're going through. So the Mayan calendar was sort of like a bit player compared to the real star, which is the 26,000-year cycle. This is a change of major consciousness. 26,000 years ago was the time of Atlantis. The half cycle, 13,000 years ago, was the demise of Atlantis. We go through these cycles, you know, from the beginning of time, of which there is no beginning of time. And these are major shifts of evolution. Before this particular time, every time the planet Earth has gone through a major shift of evolution, all life died on the planet, and the planet started over again. You know, we have Cro-Magnon and all of these different forms of humans. Well, this time, we didn't have to die. We had reached a high enough evolutionary state and state of consciousness that we did not have to perish. But we are evolving, and we're evolving very rapidly. I'm sure many are aware of all the solar flares that we've been having and all of the changes of energy that is bombarding the Earth. It's kind of hard on our bodies at first. You know, people get really tired, dizzy, kind of a disoriented feeling, nausea, or just hyper active. It affects people in different ways, but these are these energy shifts that are coming in. It takes a few days for our body to assimilate it, and then before you know it, we get another one. And what these are is it's like, well, it's very easy to use a computer as an example. Our brain is the hard drive, and we have an operating system. The operating system is our civilization. It's the way things are run on planet Earth at this particular time. We get upgrades from time to time, and we're getting a major operating system upgrade. Something. Mm-hmm. Back in May of 2012, there was a major eclipse. And we get our programming literally from and there's another sun behind our sun we call the Great Central Sun, and that sends its programming to our sun, which then sends it to us. So in May of 2012, we had our major upgrade, our major operating system. And what happens when you upgrade your computer? You have to reboot for the new operating system to take effect. And being that our operating system comes from the sun, we had to block out the programming that we were used to, reboot, and then allow the new operating system to come in. And that's what that eclipse was. It was a major eclipse. It lasted over 7 minutes, which is very, very long for a total eclipse of the sun. So we've been operating since then under this new programming. We have to learn how to work it. We have to grow into it. We have to learn what our new abilities are, what our new powers are, and learn to assimilate it. Simultaneously, our physical body is going through a tremendous change because our third-dimensional body is meant to only be a third-dimensional vehicle. And normally it would have died, and we would have gotten a new vehicle that was more suited to our higher dimensional, our fourth-dimensional operating system. But we were given the grace and the gift of keeping our body with us, but we have to change our body. The body has to upgrade as well. And this is why people are having aches and pains and memory losses and all kinds of things, because the body is literally mutating. I know that's not a very glamorous word, but that's the truth. We are mutating into a different life form. And this is going to take a while. It's going to be on different degrees. We'll see, well, we've already seen many changes. And if you look back on society and technology and consciousness, how people think, what they believe in, how life works, it's dramatic. Yeah. It's very dramatic what has happened and how we feel and how we perceive things. Probably the whole integration will happen in increments, and it happens a little faster. But we're going to see everything in our life radically change. Our educational systems, our government, our business structures, banking, culture, everything. Any aspect of life is going to change, because as we raise our frequency and our vibration, which is what this new energy is, a higher frequency, a higher vibration, as we change it, and there are things that we can do now to change our frequency and vibration even more, so that we're already moving into the higher energies quicker. When we do this, you see things differently. Your consciousness expands. Just like when you were 5 years old and entered kindergarten, you knew certain things. You know, you had ways of looking at things and problem solving and all. But by the time you reached high school or college, you saw things a whole lot different. You had more capabilities of solving problems and seeing different ways of doing things and creating things, inventing things. And this is what we're going into, is a very expanded consciousness, where who we used to think of as a genius will just be maybe normal, and we will all be beyond that type of consciousness. We will all be beyond Einstein, and we will see how to do things better. Well, once you see how to make life better, aren't you going to do that? You know, why keep an old, antiquated education system when all of a sudden we can see a better, more expanded way to do it? We're going to implement the new way. So this is how our world is going to change in every facet. Everyone has their own talents, their own type of jobs that they do, and they'll start seeing how to do it better, how to do it differently, how to do it more advanced. So bit by bit, everything in our world is going to change. And 25 years from now, you won't even recognize where we are now. It will be like the Dark Ages. So that's what happened on December 21st. And, and if we all think about it, we can see how we feel different. A lot of people can't put their finger on why they feel different, but they know that they do. They know that something has happened, even though they can't quite define it or explain it. It's something that we feel deep inside of ourselves. And the real secret to the successful shift is to get out of the brain, which is just a hard drive and has all kinds of memory banks and programming and viruses and Trojan horses and all of that, and to shift into our heart. Our heart, and I don't mean the heart chakra, I mean literally the physical, beating, pumping blood heart, is the doorway to all the inner dimensions, and it's the doorway to our true self. It's the doorway to our divinity, and that's where our spark of God resides, is in our heart. So as we start shifting our consciousness and our way of thinking and responding from our brain to our heart, we will know immediately the best and the highest choices. Because the brain, think about it, Debra, you're trying to decide, maybe even just something real simple. What do I wear to that fabulous party I'm going to tonight? And your brain will tell you, well, that red dress looks really good on you. And then another thing, no, that green one, you really look stunning in that. It goes so well with your hair. Well, let's be different. Let's do the blue one. And, you have all these choices and your head's telling you all these different things, and some are very contradictory. But when you go into your heart, you'll only hear one answer. And you know instinctively, yes, that's the perfect answer. That's the perfect choice. Because that's where your higher self and your divinity is, and that's the only voice you will hear in your heart. It's that small, still voice of God. And it is small, it's very quiet, it's very still, meaning that we have to be very still to listen to it. But the more we shift into that communication and into our heart space, the voice becomes louder. The voice becomes the one voice that you hear. So we can strengthen and develop our ability to hear the small, still voice.
Can you share with us how we can amplify our ability to do that? Because I know that a lot of people say, live from your heart, come from your heart, but sometimes it's easier said than done.
No, I used to hear that a long time ago in different disciplines that I was exploring. Go to your heart, go to your heart. And and in my head I'm saying, yes, and just what does that mean? And
right.
Do it, go to your heart. Yeah, well, yeah, okay.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, I've tried that, but even my heart doesn't know if I should wear the blue or the red or the green.
One of the activation that we're going to do today is in the heart and activating our divine spark of God, which I call the Trinity of God flame, and we will do that. But before we do that, because I know you've got more questions for me, I'll give you a real simple exercise. Just close your eyes, and even though your eyes are closed, your eyes are still pointing out through your eyelids, aren't they? Mm-hmm. They're still in the same position as if your eyes were open, right?
Yeah.
Where your eyes are pointing is where your attention is going. So right now, when we close our eyes and our eyes are still pointing out, we're looking outside of ourselves. We're looking out into the environment, and our eyes are lined up with our brain. So we're in our head space, and we're looking for answers outside of ourself in the environment. When you close your eyes and imagine that you are now turning your eyes inward and looking down into your heart, your whole focus shifts. And you're now putting your attention inside your heart. So just try that. Just turn your, you're not literally going to be able to turn your eyeballs totally around and point into your heart, but with your intention and just shifting your eyes down and your intention to go into your heart, you will be focusing inside your heart. Do you feel the difference?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So just real quick, put your eyes straight back, keep your eyes closed, but do a switch back and forth. So look out, and then turn and look in. And look out, and look in. As you do that, you feel that immediate shift. It's subtle, but you feel a difference. Right?
Yeah.
So that's a very easy, practical way to get into your heart. Demystified.
Yes. When we're faced with the decision, can we close our eyes and turn our attention actually towards the physical heart and then ask the question from that heart space?
Exactly.
And, beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah. And even more than the momentary asking the question, for people that do meditate, and even just 5 minutes makes a big difference. You just get yourself very quiet, turn the cell phone off and the TV, and lock the kids in the closet. And just sit very quietly and shift your attention into your heart, and just be still for 5 minutes or longer. And the way that I like to meditate is to have my head empty of all thoughts. Some people meditate to mantras or to concepts or whatever. There's different ways to meditate, and I've done them all. I've done the mantras. I've concentrated on colors. I've concentrated on different things. But the more I did that and the different techniques, what I realized is those techniques were to help you quiet your mind and to stop the mind chatter. But still, once you get to that point, now your mind is still filled with the mantra, and how can you hear anything else? So I prefer to just totally quiet my mind, just be as empty-headed as possible, and then you just turn your attention into your heart and just be quiet and listen. Mm-hmm. That will help get that really strong connection going. Then, when you do have a question, just turn your thoughts to that space and that stillness and ask your question and receive your answer. Some people literally hear, they're clairaudient, they get words in their head. Some people see, they're clairvoyant, they will see images or pictures. Some people sense. They just know. They have a knowingness, and that's clairsentient. And actually, more people are clairsentient than they are clairvoyant or clairaudio. Everybody wants to hear. Everybody wants to see, and and they think that, oh, gee, I can never get any messages. I can't see. I don't hear. And of course, they keep repeating over and over again, I can't see. I can't hear, which just validates, the universe will give us anything we want, and it does. But when it hears the words, I can't see, the universe goes, oh, okay, they don't want to see, so they can't see. So the things that we don't want, if we focus on them and keep talking about them, they become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Of course you can't see if you're going to keep saying over and over again, I can't see. But anyway, that was another little tangent I went on. The point is receive your messages in the way that you are meant to receive them, and don't think that you're doing it wrong if you're not getting it in the way that you would prefer to have a message. So seeing is not all it's cracked up to be, nor is hearing. The knowingness is the most developed sense that the majority of people have now, and they tend to discount their messages because they're not realizing that that's the way they're receiving them. They're so busy trying to see something, they don't feel it. So just, get your answer in however you are wired to receive answers.
Okay, and thank you so much for that. That was extremely valuable. And thank you for validating those of us who don't see colors, don't hear sounds, don't see angels, et cetera, but we do have that knowingness.
Right.
And I think that at this time in creation, more of us are experiencing that knowingness, and now it's time to trust that knowingness.
Yes, to trust it and to accept it. And, another way that you can develop an even deeper sense of receiving, be it hearing, seeing, feeling, sensing, smelling, tasting. Sometimes you'll smell something. You'll just get a whiff of like sandalwood just kind of lifting through, or roses, or something that, a really delicious scent that there's no third dimensional reason at that point why you should smell that. That also is spirit speaking to you, telling you, hey, we're here, we're around you. We're comforting you, we're walking your path with you, we're supporting you. All of our senses can be extrasensory. So look for all of those little things. And when you get a message, a vision, a sound, a sense of knowing, acknowledge it and go, oh, I get it. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. I did receive that. Thank you. I am grateful for that. And when you acknowledge it like that and you accept it and you are thankful for it, it grows. It gets bigger. It gets stronger. And the next time you get a message, you'll really, it'll be even more obvious than the time before, and more obvious. And pretty soon you are totally walking with spirit, and you are walking with your intuition open, and you are receiving and sending, and you are in the flow. You are in that divine connection. But if not, I can't tell you how much acceptance and acknowledgement of your messages, how important that is to develop those senses even more.
So that gratitude piece, and just even saying thank you to, the God of your understanding, higher beings, guides, just expressing that gratitude is an important piece.
Well, and the acknowledgement. Oh, I heard that. Oh,
okay.
I saw that. Oh, yeah, something's happening here. I mean, even those days when you're kind of in a hurry and you've got to get to downtown, and parking's a problem, and and you're thinking, oh, please, I've got to help me with the flow of my day, and all of a sudden you're pulling right in front of the building you need to go to, and there's somebody is pulling out of the perfect parking place, and you just move right into it. That's not a coincidence.
Right.
Acknowledge it and thank the universe. Oh, thank you, God. I use the God word. There's other words. I use the God word because it's dog spelled backwards, and I love dogs. It's only 3 letters and 1 syllable, and it's real easy to say. but for a long time, I couldn't say the word God. It bothered me. It had too many negative connotations or questions to me. So I used to say, oh, universal intelligence, or the divine source, or the all that is, or the I am presence, or the divine true radiant one, or what. It's all the same thing. Just pick the word that you like. It's all the same thing, believe me. So I use the God word. But anyway, so, you've got that perfect parking place. It's like, wow, thank you, God. Yay, team, Thank you so much. And anything in your life that goes your way and that shows you that you're in that flow, acknowledge it. Yes, I'm in the flow. Yes, this happened. Yes, I'm united. Yes, the universe is helping me. It expands it. What we concentrate on, what we focus on, expands. Mm-hmm. So you want to acknowledge the things that you want to expand and stop acknowledging the things that aren't the way you want. How many people say, I don't have any money, or I can't afford that, or that never happens to me, or I can't see, or I feel terrible, or, whatever. When you're saying that and you're focusing on it, it's expanding. It's making that situation more prominent in your life. So you want to acknowledge that which you want to be, that which you want more of, and minimize the stuff that you don't want.
Well, I have a question that actually goes back to something you said quite a while. I have so many things, and I know we're going to do our activation, and I want you to share with everybody how they can prepare and thrive through these transformational times, because I know that people are experiencing a little bit of challenge and difficulty. But
a lot of challenge.
But
yeah.
I just want to just go back for a second. Hopefully you can answer this quickly, and then we can move on. But I can't let this go because it keeps popping back in my brain.
So
you said that over the next few years, and definitely within 25 years, that everything's going to change, the educational system, the political system, banking, business, everything. And where my mind went at that moment was, wow, really? Are we powerful enough to do this against the people who want it to stay the same? Because there are the people like my audience, the people who listen to Your Life Without Limits. We want to contribute to the evolution of the planet. And there are people who just live in the third dimensional reality. And are you saying that everybody is going to shift? And I think you even said the word everybody. Everybody is going to shift, or that our energy is going to be powerful enough to bring everybody else along? What does it really look like?
It's really both of those. It's like everybody, with this new energy coming in and the higher vibration and higher frequency, every life form on this planet, including rocks, because they are living, everything on this planet is alive, even though we don't perceive it that way. Everything is getting a shift in frequency and vibration and a rise in consciousness. It's based upon where they are at this moment. They will get a rise in consciousness. Maybe their consciousness will rise a half an inch, but some of the listeners on the show, their consciousness may raise 6 feet. So it's proportionate to where the person is in their own personal evolution. But even if the lowest consciousness, most extreme, dense person, even if they just raise up a half an inch or an inch in consciousness, it's better than they were before. And they'll find a different way. They'll go from kindergarten to the first grade. But that's an advancement. That's an advancement that benefits the whole planet. So yes, everything is going to raise in consciousness. Is it all going to raise to the same point? No, not at first and not overnight. But look at the way the world has been. We've always been on different levels of consciousness. Yeah. That's just the way the world is. We've got people living in this world that are into a very heavy lifestyle of drugs and violence and gang activities. We've got people that are very much into music and creating beauty and artists And we have the techie type people that want to advance technology and do everything in a left brain sort of way. And then we've got just the norm, what is norm? There is no normal, but, we consider like the mainstream or whatever, but it's all part of we're all part of the collective consciousness. And the collective consciousness is what creates our universe. It's what creates our world. It's not some Santa Claus kind of God up in the sky that says, oh, okay, we're going to do this on planet Earth now, and this is going to happen, and that's going to happen. It's not that way at all. We control this planet, and what happens on this planet happens from the collective consciousness. Even the masters, I ask them, well, what's going to happen, and this and that, and they go, well, we don't know. We're watching you. You guys are in charge. We can only give you guidance. We can only help you, but we can't come in and change your world for you. It's your world to create. And when they were embodied, they were creating it, like we are creating it now. So yes, we are the ones that are going to change this world. And yes, we are that powerful. We are powerful beyond your wildest imagination. Your wildest imagination of what we can do and what we can be and who we are pales in comparison to the true reality of who we are as an individual and as a collective consciousness.
Well, now those of us who are really committed to doing all we can to raise our frequency so that we can contribute to the planet in the most profound ways possible. I know that you work with color and sound, and you know how to help people raise their frequency and their vibration. So what we want to do is not only ease our discomforts and expand the pleasures and not only thrive through these transformations, but also contribute in the greatest way possible. So how can you help us?
Well, I can tell you how to help yourself. I can't do anything other than help myself, but I can share with you what I know and what I've done. And that's another myth that, the masters are going to wave their magic wand over me and ascend me. Even if they could, they would not, because it's the journey is what's important, and the self-discovery and becoming our own master and learning how to create the life that we want and how to overcome the obstacles that are in our path, which are really just opportunities to express your mastery, is what it's all about. So I think probably your audience knows that energy and frequency and vibration is all that there is, that everything that we see or perceive is merely vibration. And sound, pure frequency, made audible. And color is it made visible. So every color has a note. Every note has a color. And that's the vibration is what creates our world and our universe. It creates our physical bodies. It creates the trees. It creates everything. So I prefer to work with pure color and pure sound because there's no misinterpretation. There's no getting it wrong. There's no, did I do it right? It is. It just is. You're working with pure color, pure sound. You're working with pure frequency and vibration. There's many ways to work with that, but also at the same time, because I want to give you the ultimate tool that there is. At the same time, there are colors and fires and flames that our visual eyes cannot see yet. We soon will be seeing some of them. Some people already can see them. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We cannot see a gamma ray, but we know they exist. We cannot see an X-ray, but we can see what an X-ray can do and how film can be developed from it. We cannot see beyond infrared. We cannot see ultraviolet, but we know they exist. So there are many colors and frequencies that are out there that we could call higher dimensional because they're higher than our dimension, the dimension that we're in now can see or reach. As we raise our frequency and vibration, we will be seeing those levels soon. But anyway, there are these sacred flames. They're every color of the rainbow and beyond, and each one of them has a function. They're like different aspects of the Godhead. There are different functions and abilities that are available to us, and I like to call them tools because that's how they function. They're just like a toolkit. You know, you've got your hammer and you've got the screwdriver and the saw and, you know, all the different things that you can utilize to build and create what you want. So the one that is extremely useful and downright magical in this day and age is the violet flame. And it's a beautiful shade of violet. It's actually just beyond ultraviolet. So it's not that far from our visible sight. Our sight goes to about 380 with a whole bunch of zeros after that of the visual spectrum. And the violet flame is just beyond that. It's about 370. So we're real close to seeing it. And what the violet flame does is it transmutes. We've all heard of alchemy, how the alchemist can turn lead into gold. And that's what alchemy is, and transmutation is to turn one substance into another. We do alchemy all the time. Everyone that cooks is an alchemist. You know, you're taking elements, you're taking flour and water and an egg, and you're turning it into something else. You're turning it into bread. So alchemy is not that mysterious, but there's different levels of it. So what the violet flame is, it's like the ultimate spiritual tool of alchemy. Its complete purpose is to turn the human into the divine. And it does this in increments by transmuting the negative, lower, denser, heavier vibrations and frequencies that we contain into higher, lighter frequencies. And like I said, it's a tool. You do not have to be special to use it. You don't have to belong to a religion or go to a bunch of meetings. You don't have to know secret handshakes or anything like that. Just think of it as a hammer. Hammer doesn't care how old you are, how young you are, what color you are, how much money you have or don't have, what you believe in, what you don't believe in. You know, the hammer will work for the atheist just as much as it will work for the spiritual seeker. You just have to know how to use it. So the violet flame looks just like our fire, except instead of yellow and white and orange, it's lavender, hot pink, violet, and a deep purple. But it flickers and undulates just like regular fire. It will not burn you. Some people can feel it when they call it in. Some people, and it's strange because some people will feel a coolness and some people will feel a warmth. It doesn't matter. It's just some people, you know, just the way you're wired. So the way that you use the violet flame is you can visualize it or you can imagine it. Imagination is very powerful, and imagination is really the secret to creating anything you want. So you would imagine the violet flame over your head, like a big ball of violet fire over your head, and you ask it to come into your body, filling you totally and completely, every molecule, you know, every cell, running through your blood, through your bones, you know, all your muscles, your skin, your organs, just filling you completely. and then you expand it. You have it get wider and just grow to where it now encompasses your mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. So at this point, you're standing in like a big egg shape of violet fire, and it's in you and around you. And you do this because you want to incorporate all of the other bodies. You know, we have many bodies besides our physical, and a lot of times the situation is caused in another body. It's the emotional body that's causing it rather than the physical. So you want to cover all of your bodies. And then you ask for what you want to have transmuted. You can do it like a laundry list, not a laundry list, a shopping list, you know, please transmute all this anger, or transmute my feeling of separation, transmute my head cold, transmute all my karma, transmute whatever's causing me to feel, you know, fill in the blank. You can do it that way, where you're really talking about what you want to do at that particular moment. Or you can do a catch-all phrase, like anything and everything that stands in my way of embodying the ascended being that I am, or the Christ energy, or to be an ascended being. You know, so you can do it in different ways. There is an invocation that Saint Germain gave me as an example that I'll do with you guys, but the best way is to do it just with the words that are in your heart and the way that you feel at the particular moment. It should be a living, personal prayer or invocation rather than reading off the same words that somebody wrote for you that you may not feel like that day. You know, it should be how you feel at the moment. So then after you ask for what you want transmuted, the final step, which is very important, is you tell it what you want it to become. So here again, you can do it in different ways. If you want to transmute anger, you could ask for it to become the opposite of anger. Please transmute this anger into peace and harmony. Please transmute my feeling of separation into the oneness, into feeling and knowing that I am part of the oneness. I want to feel oneness. Please turn this financial situation into one of complete abundance and prosperity. You know, again, you can individualize it by naming the opposite quality or what you want it to turn into, or just like we did the catch-all of what to transmute, you can do a catch-all of what to transmute it into. This one, this sample invocation, turns everything into the Christ consciousness, the energy of the Christ consciousness, because that's where we're going. That's our next level of being, is that of a Christed being. You know, Jesus wasn't the only one. The Christ consciousness is a frequency. It's a vibration. It's a state of being. Jesus publicly, in front of everybody, achieved Christ consciousness, and he did it as an example to show us what we could be. And he left his living example of how to achieve Christ consciousness. People didn't really understand that and created a whole religion about it instead and put him on a pedestal and made him different than the rest of us. But Jesus' own words were, "These things that I do, ye shall do, and even greater." So he was the way shower. So, you know, so this one brings in that Christ consciousness frequency and vibration. So when you do the violet flame like this, not only are you eliminating that which you no longer want, you are turning that negative energy into something extremely positive. And then you bring that back into your body so that you now are filled with that new energy. So it's better than just erasing something. You're replacing it with something that you desire. So it does double, triple, quadruple duty. And one thing about what's so important about turning the negative into positive is, like many, many years ago when the violet flame was kind of first introduced to our reality, they didn't transmute it into something. They just asked the violet flame to come in and be around them and to clear their negative energy. They didn't, it's only half of the process. You don't want to just clear off your negative energy, because that energy belongs to you, good, bad, or indifferent. It's like your life force, it's your energy. And when you're saying, oh, just clear this energy and let it go, you're giving your energy away. And you're letting it go off into the universe for someone else to claim it. You want to hold on to all your energy. So you want to transmute it into something positive and bring it back to you. You don't want to give yourself away. You want to encompass all that you are. And a lot of people give themselves away by not wanting to face their dark side. We all live in duality. We all have a dark side. It's very popular in the New Age to say, oh, la, 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 I'm not that. Oh, la, 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 I don't want to see anything negative. Oh, la, 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 la. But, that's who we are. And if we're not embracing, if we're pushing away the negative, we don't want to see it, we don't want to see it, what we're really doing is we're making it more prominent, we're making it stronger, and we're giving it more power by not wanting to face it. The way that you become all that you can be and become a total, ascended, balanced person is you embrace your dark side. You bring the dark into the light, and then it becomes light along with the rest of the light. You cannot bring dark into light and distinguish the light. You can only bring light into the dark. A darkened room, you put that little tiny candle in there, the whole room becomes illuminated. The light, even a small speck of it, lightens the dark. There's no way that you can have a light, bright-filled room and bring dark into it. You bring the dark into the light, it becomes one with the light. So that's, again, another reason to embrace the dark parts of you, the lower energies, the anger, the frustration, the feeling of separation, the grief, the tears, the sadness, the thought of just wanting to strangle somebody when they really annoy you. That's all part of who we are. We all contain everything because we're part of the whole, and everything is in the whole. That means we contain everything. So you transmute it. You acknowledge it. You embrace it. You bring it into you. You put the violet flame onto it, and you transform it into something positive. And you, therefore, are keeping your energy and just filling it with light. So that's a different explanation than I usually give. Oh, well.
Well, we love it. And also, thank you for sharing such
So
a
let's
powerful...
do this invocation, okay?
Yes, please. Yes, yes, yes.
This is the sound of the violet flame. This is the frequency of the violet flame. Pretty. So just everyone take a couple of deep breaths with me. We take 3 deep breaths because 3 represents the Trinity, and all creation is created through the Trinity. So breathe in through your nose, do a slight pause, and then breathe out through your mouth. And with us doing it in synchronization, it unites us as one unit. You really become that unity. So breathe in. Out and in and out and in and out. And as I say this invocation, just you'll see how each little paragraph directs the violet flame into those steps that I. Mighty I Am Presence, beloved God, my heavenly source, please make manifest in me now the sacred violet flame of transmutation. Bring the violet flame into every cell, molecule, and atom of my body, filling me totally and completely. Blessed violet flame, blaze into my heart and expand out and around all of my bodies, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, surrounding my entire being with your divine grace, love, mercy, and forgiveness. Transmute all karma, negative thoughts, actions, deeds, and energy that I have ever created at any time, in all dimensions, on all levels, in all bodies, through all time and space, past, present, and future, for all eternity. Transmute anything and everything that stands in my way of embodying the ascended Christ being that I am. Beloved violet flame, turn all that has been transmuted into the golden platinum light of God, the Christ consciousness, the light of God that never fails. Send this golden platinum light to me now, filling and surrounding my entire body with its divine radiance. Raise my vibration and frequency to the highest level possible for me at this time. So be it, and so it is. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you. So see, it takes a very short time to do it. It takes me much longer to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
But St. Germain suggests that we do this first thing in the morning and last thing at night. And I do it while I'm still in bed when I first wake up. And I just, if you can say it out loud, it's better because your words create vibration and frequency. But if you're in a crowded situation, well, hopefully you're not in a crowded situation when you first wake up. But say you're at the office and something happens and you want to transmute the energy, you can just say it in your head. Just visualize it or imagine it and just say it in your head and, be done with it. Anytime you can catch energy right before it really hits you and impacts you. I grew up in Los Angeles, so I have a lot of freeway examples. Road rage is very prominent in Southern California. And, you'll be driving down the freeway and all of a sudden somebody comes way out of nowhere and just cuts you off by sometimes a half an inch. And the energy and the force of them doing that is really violent to our energy field. And you feel it, and you get angry and you get mad and you get scared because you almost, got into an accident or all kinds of things. If you can violet flame right then and there at that moment, and you don't have to be poetic about it, just, violet flame, come into me right now, surround all of my bodies, transmute this anger and this frustration that I'm feeling, towards this incident, turn it into calmness, peace, and harmony. Bring that vibration to me. Thank you very much. So be it. That's like living in the moment, expressing how you feel at that right moment. And that's the perfect response is how you feel. So don't think that you always have to be poetic and say these words the way they're written. It's just how you feel at the moment and how you want to do it. And if you catch something like that road rage example, you're catching it right away before it really has time to enter into your field and become part of you. And you're doing a great service not only to yourself, but to the situation, because that person cutting off all those people on the freeway, each person he cuts off is going to feel that anger and give it out. And they'll give it out to the next person, and they'll give it to the next person, and it just becomes this big ball of negative energy surrounding the whole entire freeway. You can transmute it right then and there. You're stopping yourself from giving it out, which means you don't have to get it back someday. Everything's cause and effect. What we give out, we get back, both the good stuff and the bad stuff. That really helps. And you can also ask the violet flame to permeate the area and to transmute that anger in general and help soothe out the area from the incident. When I'm driving down the street, if I see an accident or even somebody getting a ticket on the side of the road, I just kind of zap the violet flame over there and say, transmute as much as the law will allow from this situation, because it's involving other people. You have to respect their free will. You have to respect where they're at. We can't just take people's karma away from them, because we learn our lessons through what we perceive as problems. So we have to let people go through their process so that they can evolve and that they can learn. So by saying something like, as much as the law will allow, that's kind of a catch-all phrase that means with respect to their free will and where they're at and stuff, but you can always help a situation by sending the violet flame over there without putting conditions on it. Transmute all that the law will allow, turn it into love, turn it into peace, turn it into
Well, this is an absolute perfect time to transition into the absolutely amazing offer that you put together for our Life Without Limits community. And because I want you to share that story of how you used the violet flame. But before you share that story, and the other thing I love about your offer is that you teach how to use the violet flame in very specific ways, very specifically for abundance, very specifically for relationships. So to access this package for yourself, just click on the special offer button on this web page. And there are many activations in this special offer, and I thank you so much for creating it. Will you share with everybody what they'll find there?
Sure. Almost everything except the last two things are downloadable audio MP3s. So I won't keep saying that it's a downloadable MP3. So the first one is a clearing with Archangel Michael. And what he does, and he's the master of this, is he can remove cords that someone attaches to you to kind of suck off your energy, entities, negative thought forms, disincarnated beings. It's not like a big shame to have those things. We all get them from time to time because everything is attracted to the light. So if you've really got your light shining in you, these things are going to be attracted to you. If you have like a hard time making up your mind and you've got all these different voices in your head and some of them are maybe telling you to do things that you know are not in your best interest, you can be assured that you have something attached to you. So this helps you clear through it, and I suggest that you do this one first, and then any other time that you feel a little out of sorts or your energy kind of being pulled or sucked or whatever, just do it again. It's like taking a nice shower. And in that, too, you will also receive 2 centurion angels. And centurion angels are big, huge warrior guardian angels. You don't want to meet them in a dark alley unless they're your friends. And Archangel Michael, he's the warrior angel. His job is to protect the light and to clean up the dark forces and convince them that they would rather be of the light. So he has these legions of angels that go out and do this work. And so you'll receive 2 of them that will be your bodyguards. They're really cool. They're not scary if they're on your side. So you want to have those angels. Then the next bunches of them are all about the violet flame. And the first one in that series is kind of the one that we did, only there's further explanation of it and how to use it and different examples. And there's the invocation as well. Then the next one is just the invocation itself. So you don't have to listen to all the blah, 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 blah that's on the first one that is the educational part. You can just play the invocation itself in the morning and the evening, when you want to call in the violet flame. And it's helpful to do it that way, the written down invocation, until you get more comfortable and write your own or just speak your heart for them. You can do a combination of. And then the next one is the violet flame for relationships. A relationship is any other person, animal, situation that is other than just totally yourself. So because of free will and all of that, there's a different way to work with it. This is a really effective way where you create a sacred space for yourself, like an interdimensional oasis, and you bring in the other people, you bring them in on a soul level, and you use the violet flame with them in a very specific way, and it's amazing what this can do. And then the audio number 4 is how to use the violet flame for abundance and prosperity. There's so many things that we don't think of that need to be cleared to really open up the gates for our prosperity and abundance to come to us. Then we have the activation. One of them is to activate and transform all of your chakras. This is very different than the normal clearing and balancing your chakras, because our chakras have different functions. They have the third dimensional physical function, which is how they are operating now, but they also have the divine function. And this activation turns them into the higher function to help you, walk into your own divinity. It's a long one. It's about an hour and 20 minutes or so. You want to make sure that you are alone and quiet, preferably laying down where you won't be disturbed, because you'll go into a very altered state and you don't want to be yanked out of it quickly. Then the other one is to activate and transform your DNA and pineal gland. And this one you want to be quiet and still and allow yourself the space to do it, the time. The pineal gland is the master gland, and it transforms all of the other glands. Remember how I said we were mutating and that our body was changing? The pineal gland kind of is the sounder that says, okay, body, it's time to shift into your divine form, and all of your glands change. They start secreting a different kind of hormone than the third dimensional one, and your body goes into the process of becoming a light body. It doesn't happen overnight. Do not be scared. It will happen gradual, but you need to get it going. And so that's what that activation does. And you can repeat these activations over and over again to make them stronger and to help accelerate them. The last activation is where you merge with your higher self and you bring your higher self into your physical body. Ascension is kind of a misnomer because people think, oh, we ascend, we rise up and we go somewhere. That is not really what ascension is. What ascension is you bring your higher selves, your higher frequency and vibration into your third dimensional body. And so your third dimensional body then expands and becomes a higher dimensional body right here within the third dimension. So in reality, ascension is really descension. The higher aspects are descending into your physical body. So that one is also very powerful. And those three activations, you do not want to do them in your car. You want to make sure that you are alone and quiet. I mean, if you've got someone else in your house, a husband, a wife, a brother, a sister, or best friend, and you want to do it together, you don't have to be alone in that sense. Two people can be doing it together, but you want to be in an atmosphere where you can really do these justice, because you will be in an altered state by doing them. And I do not suggest that you do all of these on the same day. They're really powerful. You're going to get altered. So, do the Archangel Michael one first. The violet flame stuff, you can do that every single day if you want. Definitely the basic violet flame you should do every day. But the other ones, do them maybe once a week. Do one when you first get the package, and then wait a week and do the next one, and then wait another week and do the third one. After you've done each one like that, then you can go back and you can repeat them more frequently if you want. But you want to be gentle on yourself. You don't want to overload yourself and get overwhelmed. So that's what those are. And then I do this thing called an Ascension Flame energy transmission. It's really St. Germain does it. He does all the work, but because he's in a higher dimension, the call or the action must happen through a third dimensional frequency or embodiment in order to come into the third dimension. So I'm like the anchor, and we connect in with each other, and then he transmutes this very high ascension flame. It's not the violet flame, it's another flame. It's the actual frequency of the energy of ascension. And he transmutes that through me, and then through me it gets broadcast to you. And we do 3 of these once a week for a 3-week period. They're really amazing. And then the last thing is a live bonus Q&A call with me, just for the people that partake of the package. And that will be done, at a later date. And if you're not able to do it during the live call, there will be eternal replays. You don't have to worry about missing the call. There will be replays where you can listen to it at a time that's convenient for you. So that's it.
Wow. And also the 3 Ascension Flame, those transmissions, those you don't have to be on a call. You just send those transmissions sometime during
No, and actually
the day
I
or
do
night.
them very late at night. I live in Mount Shasta, so I'm on Pacific time. I do them usually somewhere around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, my time, because it's very still and very quiet, and the energy is really pristine during that time, and I can transmit higher energy better. So I do it at a time that's optimal for the energy to reach you. You don't have to, I don't even tell people when it's going to happen, because I don't always know. I might plan to do it Monday night, and Monday night the energy's not so great, but Tuesday night, wow, look at this energy. So I'll do it, when it's best. And it's actually better for people not to know when it's coming, so they don't have expectations.
Yeah.
Just be open to receive.
Very good. Well, 2 things. One is, can you tell us the price of this package?
Oh, yes. It's really hard to price these things because basically they're all priceless, especially the knowledge of the violet flame. I just based it on my time, if I were doing this on a one-to-one basis with someone in a session, and all of these things all together would be $1,674. So,
and for us,
I think it's 97.
yes,
Because you guys set that price. So yeah, $97. So it's pretty good value.
Yes, I would say that is a pretty good value. And thank you so much. I know you said that. We said it. We beg you because we want it to make it at a price point that many people could take advantage of it. I mean,
tell you, my private sessions are more than the $97. So
yes.
per hour. So they're, this is really a great deal for people.
No, it's actually an amazing deal. And really, looking through this offer, any one of the components of this offer is worth so much more than $97, as you say, priceless. But as you kept saying, and this and all of the things that you're adding, including the bonus call, but I mean, just like activating and transforming your DNA and the pineal gland, and I just can't even imagine what we're going to be like on a vibrational level after we begin doing the activations in this package. I just have to say
it's kind of a complete. It's a kind of a complete package for self-mastery and for, creating all the gears to turn into the divine being that we're all going to. Because,
yes.
You've got the clearing with Archangel Michael that really gets you all scrubbed up and ready. And then you've got violet flame to transmute all of your density and things that happened in your past lives and in parallel lives and other universes, and because that's all part of who we are. We're not aware of all of our lives, but the violet flame will clear all of them for you. Mm. And then with these activations, they're all specific, thing. You get your chakras going on a higher level. You get the DNA and the pineal gland activated and starting to change your body into the light body, and then you're uniting with your higher self and bringing it into you. So I don't know what else more there is to do.
Well, I know one more thing, and that is, and I know that we're already at 90 minutes, but I wanted to also, again, the people who are part of our community, they love to contribute to not only their own lives, but of course to the planet. And I know you were asking you, yes, about results that people have had. You were just sharing some amazing things, but I thought the most amazing was what you did with the violet flame, and then you said that we learn how to do it with this package. Can you share?
Yeah.
Remember what you told me? I just love that. It was amazing.
Right, because I'm a lot older than I sound, and I've been doing this my whole life. I didn't have examples. I didn't have teachers. I didn't have people that could say, oh, well, this is what I did, and this is how you do it, and oh, yeah, here's what you do. And I had to figure it out all for myself. I did have the help of Saint Germain, but still, he can only tell you so much, and you have to do it yourself. So there were a lot of things that I learned just by, necessity is the mother of invention. And so I just figured out different ways to use it, or I would have that insight from him. Oh, okay, I'll try it this way. And, and then I just learned by doing it. I learned how effective it was by seeing results. And the story I was telling Debra was, many of you might remember about the Rodney King incident in Los Angeles and the riots that ensued from the court verdict. And on that day that the verdict came out, and of course we didn't know exactly what day the verdict was going to come, but it was in court. I had my car packed, and I was planning on driving up to Mount Shasta that day and spending a couple of weeks up here. And I was just doing some final preparations. I think I was doing mail. I was sending out my bills or something like that. This was way before the internet. You could not pay online. And I had the radio on, and they came out with the verdict. And I knew that there was going to be trouble, that there was going to be riots and there was going to be some, problems going on. So I thought for a split second, I forgot the beginning of the story, How for quite a few years, I think about 14 years at that point, I used to stand out on my deck at my house, and I would do the violet flame. I'd bring in the violet flame, and and the way I've done the violet flame has changed over the years as I've gotten to know better ways to use it. And in those days, rather than doing the whole earth, in one of the downloads, there's a way to violet flame the entire planet for the planet's ascension. I didn't know how to do that at that time. So I had this incredible view. It was about a 220-degree view from, because I lived I was a cul-de-sac at a hill. I had this great view, and at the end of, calling the violet flame into me and transmuting that, I would say, and spread the violet flame to all that I can see, and I would sweep my hand across this view that I had. And I did that for years and years. So now we segue back to the Rodney King day. So when the verdict came, I thought, I'm all packed. I can just hop in the car. I can be out of the vicinity before anything really happens. Should I do that or should I stay? And when I asked that question, my answer came back, no, you should stay here in Los Angeles and hold the space for peace and just hold the energy of calmness, because you asked earlier if we're powerful enough to affect something when all the rest of the world is against us. Yes, we are powerful enough. We can't totally transmute, one person can't totally transmute maybe 10 million people, but you can transmute a larger chunk than you think. So I knew that I should stay in LA and hold the energy. So there's all this rioting, and people are the black community that where Rodney King lived, they were getting into cars and driving to Beverly Hills and to wealthy areas and burning cars and destroying property and shooting people, and it was pretty bad. And after about, maybe 10 days, it was pretty much over. Well, in that time, with all of those incidences, not one incident happened within my 220-degree view. All the, that my stance where I said, and spread the violet flame to all that I can see, not one incident happened. All of the damage and the incidences were in the behind me where I could not see it, and I had not violet flamed it. So that showed me without a doubt how powerful the violet flame was. And it was from that point on that I violet flame the entire planet, whether I can see it or not. So I know that this stuff works. I just have so many stories of how the violet flame changed things for me. And I didn't tell you this one, Debra, but the violet flame is very powerful in physical things. And one of my dogs had 4th stage lymphoma. He was given 3 months to live. And I started violet flaming his lymph system and his blood system. I also changed his diet. I did some physical things as well. But I know that the violet flame had a huge part in it. And he was supposed to die in 3 months, right? 6 months later, he was 100% lymphomic free. And there's been, I know, many, many miracles that have happened with people using the violet flame for illnesses, for emotional problems, for addictions, being able to transmute the cause of the addiction and the reasons for it and be totally free of the situation. It just changes you in any way that you focus it and that you can imagine it. It's amazing.
Well, it's amazing, and you're amazing, and this call has been amazing. And before we say goodbye, I just want to give everybody the URL one more time because your offer is also amazing, and that is
We have minutes for the Trinity of Heart activation.
Well, anybody wants to stay on? I do for the Trinity of the Heart activation, yes.
I can do the short version, and it's just as effective as the long version.
If you haven't done it yet, just click on the special offer button on this page to see for yourself what an amazing package this is. You will be so glad you did. So that's where you'll see this amazing, amazing offer. And yes, please, hey, we want all of the activations we can get. So go ahead.
Okay. So those with a Christian background will have heard about the divine spark of God that we each have in us. Well, maybe people that are other religious backgrounds might have heard that too. I come from a Catholic background, so it's more my reference. But we all do. We all have a little piece of the divine flame. You know, everything is vibration, frequency, etc. So the all that is, the ultimate, that is also an energy, a vibration, a flame. And it's actually three flames put together. And the Catholics will know it as the Holy Trinity. But the Catholics have it wrong. It's not the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit, because two of those are male and one is neutral. Where's the divine feminine? So it's the Father, the Mother, and the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the neutral, non-active part of God. It's just that eminence. It's also called the Comforter or the Witness. So we've got three little flames, and it's the original three colors, the primary colors. We all learned this in kindergarten. It's red, blue, and yellow, from which all other colors come, from those three colors. And so the yellow flame goes straight up, and the red flame and the blue flame are on either side, and they twist around each other with the yellow in the center, and what they make is the DNA spiral. Duh. I love this stuff. You know how it all comes together. So it's in our heart. It's in our physical heart, and it's about anywhere from an eighth to a quarter of an inch high. It's really tiny. So we're going to now we're going to take the three breaths, and we're going to just go on a little journey into our heart, and we're going to activate that flame. And here is the sound of that flame. So everyone, close your eyes, take the three breaths, breathe in and out, and in and out, and in and out. Just like at the beginning of the show, we learned how to, with our eyes closed, turn our eyes into our heart, turn our energy and focus there. We're going to go ahead and do that. Look into your heart. And now imagine yourself walking into your heart. And besides the four chambers that we are taught about and see in diagrams, there's another chamber in your heart. It's right in the middle where the four come together. And it's sort of oval shaped, wider at the bottom than high. Just go ahead and walk into that chamber. When you get in there, you'll see that it's really a temple. And there's an altar in there. And everybody's temple and altar looks a little bit different because you're the one that decorated it. But what we all have in common is right in the center of our altar is the flame. It's on a little golden pedestal. And you'll see the blue flame and the red flame spiraling around the yellow flame. As I said, it's pretty small. So as you look at your flame, focus on it. Ask the flame now to grow in size. You'll see it will become 4 times the size. It will now be a good inch or 2. Ask it now to grow to the size of your actual physical heart, which is usually somewhere between 4 and 5 inches in height. Just look at it and just feel energy. Feel how you feel looking and being around it. We're going to ask the flame to grow again, to become half as tall as you are. Wow, and feel how that feels. Now we're going to ask it to double in size and be as big as your physical body. Now for it to expand, 6 to 12 inches, so that now it goes beyond your body. It is encompassing your entire body, inside and out. Feel how that feels. Be engulfed in your own divinity. Now you are truly merged with that divine spark of God. We're going to ask your Trinity of God flame to now stay as big as it is and stay intact, but to also create billions and billions of little duplications of the flame. Almost like fireworks are going to be shot out of it. Lots and lots of little small replicas of this flame. We're going to ask that one of those replicas goes into each and every cell within your body. Why there's so many of them being made. Every cell that you have, blood cells, lymph cells, brain cells, nerve cells, bone cells, muscles, all of your organ cells, every single Don't forget hair and fingernails. Every aspect of you, every cell that makes up your physical body is now going to have its own Trinity of God flame within it. This is actually turning your physical body into a divine vehicle. Just feel how that feels. And now, we're going to retain those individual little flames in every cell. We're going to retain that forever. We're going to ask the large, original Trinity of God flame to start shrinking in size slowly. And we're not going to have it go all the way down to its little itty-bitty, teeny-tiny cell. We're going to ask it to stay the size of our physical heart, that it can still be contained within our heart, within the chamber, that it will be the size of our heart. And when you're ready, open your eyes, bring your attention back to your physical body and your circumstances, your environment. Always helps me to wiggle my fingers and toes, make sure I come fully back in. And there you have it. That's a fairly simple process, and hopefully you can all remember what you did and do it often, or listen to the replay and take notes. You can do that, making your Trinity of God flame larger and then back down to heart size over and over and over again. The more you do it, the more you will become that frequency and that vibration. The more that will become your natural state.
Well, Troika.
Debra.
Yes. You have given us so much. Really, I cannot thank you enough. This has been truly magical and powerful and sacred, and I know that everybody is vibrating right now, and I think that what I'm going to do is, well, say the URL one more time, because I know everybody wants more of what you have to offer, and I highly encourage everyone to take a look at Troika's special offer and experience it for yourself. yourlifewithoutlimits.com/activations. But what I want to say now is, will you come back and be with us again sometime?
I'd love to. Anytime you ask, I will be here.
Because there's so much that you've shared with us, and I know that there's more.
Oh, there's so much more.
I know there's so much more.
There's so many different ways to work with energy and with frequency, and just understanding how bands of frequency work, and that visual and understanding, and about how energy works in spirals. And I mean, there's just so much more that I would love to share with people.
Well, then it's a date. So now I will just say to you, thank you so much. for being with us today. I mean, no words, but you are amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. But we're all amazing, you know. I'm just a few steps ahead of people. Somebody had to be the guinea pig, and I volunteered, and I went through what we're all going through just a little bit earlier so that I could, you know, explain and help and say, well, this is kind of what happens, and help you all along. And it's my great pleasure and privilege to do so.
Well, thank you, and thank you again. And I also want to say thank you to everyone for spending this time with me and with Troika St. Germain. And I look forward to when we are all together again and to you living your life without limits. This is Debra Poneman. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I know that you will. Bye for now.